Previously on Joyful Trails. So what had happened was I was on this bike trail trip to Florida, and I had pre-booked the campground before the weather forecast got bad. Overnight temps the first 2 nights were in the 40s. And on the second night, it started raining at 3 a.m. and rained for 7 hours. So I was really concerned about water in the tent, having never tested it in the rain before. Stick around to see how that turned out. But this trip was all about exploring the Tallahassee-St. Mark's Historic Railroad State Trail and the popular St. Mark's Wildlife Refuge. In this video, I will take you through the refuge, all the way to the historic St. Mark's Lighthouse. We're going to go inside the lighthouse. And I will take the Tallahassee-St. Mark's Trail extension all the way into Tallahassee, and we'll look around the state capitol and that place where the Seminoles play. All coming up on this edition of Joyful Trails. Now, let's go back to the Newport campground. I was nervous about the precipitation, so I pulled out a camera in the middle of the night and took a look around. And sure enough, moisture was forming on the inside of the tent, on the ceiling, so to speak. And some water did get into the tent, on the floor of the tent, but I was on a cot up off the ground, so it's not like water was ever just like rushing onto me. There was never water dripping on me, so I kept dry personally and just kept my stuff up off the floor. Unfortunately, the temperatures were plunging. It was going to be quite chilly on day 3 of my trip, with temps forecast to be in the 30s overnight. Let me tell you something, lessons were learned on this trip. I was also attempting what I'm calling a low-spend bike trip on this particular weekend, staying out of restaurants, eating mostly cheap food that I brought with me, cooking it myself, right there at the campground. By the way, I will link to part 1 of this little adventure in the description box below and leave a card somewhere up above. Somebody was asking me, were you boycotting restaurants for any particular reason? No, I just wanted to challenge myself, thought it'd be fun to do something different. I don't know, maybe Bane from Adventure Time with Bane was rubbing off on me with his cheap self. I don't know. I just wanted to try the frugal approach and see if I liked it. I definitely saved some money, I know that for a fact. Turns out the entrance to a wildly popular and prestigious wildlife refuge was just across the street from my campground. So before the rain had even fully stopped, I got antsy and decided to head on over there. I really wanted to see 3 things: alligators, some coastal birds, and that historic lighthouse. So go with me now to the St. Mark's Wildlife Refuge in, you guessed it, St. Mark's, Florida. Do you want to make me happy? Sure you do. You can do that. You can make me happy by liking this video and leaving a comment, good, bad, or ugly. All comments are welcome, but I will warn you, if you leave one that's bad or ugly, I will push back. They say don't feed the trolls. Oh, I'm going to feed the trolls. I'm feeding me some trolls. I will push back against the haters, as they say. Come at me, haters. No, the vast majority of the comments I receive are very positive and leave me feeling wonderful. You guys are great at that. The haters just don't last too long. They say their thing and then they're gone. They're out of here. And I'm over here like, bye, Felicia. All right, this has gone completely off the rails. This has gone completely off the rails. Like, comment, share, and ring the bell. That's all I meant to say. Now, about this wildlife refuge. It's huge. You can ride bikes there on lots of different roads and trails, but I chose not to due to the weather. I drove along the road to the St. Mark's Lighthouse, getting out here and there to have a look around. This refuge was established in 1931 to provide winter habitat for migratory birds and is one of the oldest in the National Wildlife Refuge System. I bet you didn't even know we had a National Wildlife Refuge System. Yeah, me neither. It encompasses over 86,000 acres and includes about 43 miles of North Florida's Gulf Coast. It's big. You'll see coastal marshes, islands, tidal creeks, and estuaries of 7 North Florida rivers. By the way, that's the word for the day, estuaries. Let's say it together, estuaries. There is no place on the refuge to buy food or stay overnight, but picnic tables and restrooms are available. Just don't drink the water. Now, there is an entry fee. I tried to pay up via this kiosk thingy and I couldn't get it to work. So I just went inside the Welcome Center and they were happy to take my $5. By the way, the fee is only $1 if you're on a bike. I wanted to buy a souvenir in the Welcome Center. Get me some merch. But then I remembered I was doing a low-spend bike trip. And I said, get thee behind me, stickers and magnets.
Amen.
This refuge is also home to the St. Mark's Lighthouse, which was built in 1842 and is still in use today. An often photographed landmark, the St. Mark's Lighthouse is the second oldest in Florida and the oldest on the Gulf Coast. It was the only lighthouse in Florida with wooden stairs. While you are not allowed to go up the tower, you can have a look around down on the ground floor, which has been turned into a really cool museum. Lighthouse buffs will find plenty to love about this place. By the way, I had heard on other YouTube videos that you are almost guaranteed to see gators at this place. Sadly, I did not. But if you'll remember, I had said I wanted to see gators, coastal birds, and the lighthouse. And in the words of that noted philosopher and poet, Meatloaf, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. A look at the Tallahassee-St. Mark's trail extension is straight ahead, but first, merch alert! I tried out and tested another piece of new merch, and this was more out of necessity because it was cold. It was colder than a polar bear's toenails on this day. And this thing passed the test. That cap I was wearing on day 1, sadly, did not. I don't know, it was something about the plastic fastener in the back. I just didn't like that. I want to get one with a cloth strip, a nicer fastener in the back. You guys deserve that. so I'm not going to be offering that particular ball cap, but this thing, it basically saved my life that day. And I'm not being melodramatic at all. Well, maybe a little melodramatic. But yeah, this thing is now available in the Joyful Trails merch shelf down below. If you're watching on a TV, pull out your phone or go to a tablet or computer and order one of these bad boys before midnight tonight. Now, I left the St. Mark's Wildlife Refuge and headed straight for the Capitol Circle trailhead on the Tallahassee outskirts to check out the 10 to 12 mile out and back urban extension of the Tallahassee-St. Mark's Trail. I had never been to Florida's capital city, and I wanted to check it out. This is Tallahassee. It is the county seat of Leon County and has been Florida's capital since 1824. 205,089 Floridians live here, and she takes up 104.7 square miles. The greater Tallahassee metropolitan area is home to almost 400,000 people. With over 70,000 young skulls full of mush in Tallahassee at any given time, it is a college town, home to the Woke Indoctrination Center's Florida State and Florida A&M. The name Tallahassee is an Indian word often translated as Old Fields or Old Town. For early sessions of the Legislative Council of the Territory of Florida, delegates would have to travel from St. Augustine to Pensacola and vice versa. Well, Tallahassee was about halfway in between, and that's how it became the state capital city. In 1977, the 22-story high-rise Capitol building, designed by architect Edward Durrell Stone, was completed. In 1978, the old Capitol, directly in front of the new Capitol, was scheduled for demolition. Can you believe that? But state officials decided to keep it as a museum, so it was preserved and restored. Tallahassee led the state of Florida in cotton production. During the Civil War, Tallahassee was the only Confederate state capital east of the Mississippi River not captured and not burned by Union forces. In the 1960s, there was a movement to transfer the capital to Orlando, closer to the state's growing population centers, but that movement was defeated. Of course, Tallahassee was the center of world attention for 6 weeks following the 2000 U.S. presidential election recount, which involved numerous hanging chads, as it were. In 2025, Tallahassee was designated an All-American City for the third time. Famous people from Tallahassee include Ray Charles, George Clinton, founder of Parliament Funkadelic, Jim Cramer of Mad Money fame, Jim Morrison of The Doors, actor Burt Reynolds, Dion Prime Time Sanders, and the band Creed, which formed in Tallahassee in 1994. But enough about Indians, cotton, and hanging chads. We've got a trail to finish. It's the extension of the Tallahassee-St. Mark's Historic Railroad State Trail. Let's go check it out.
Tell me what it feels like to let go of everything you thought you'd ever known. All of the promises they wrote.
On your left.
Tell me what it feels like to let go. Tell me what it feels like to break free, when all of the things you thought you needed feels like to be true, when even the smallest parts of you aren't worried about what people think. Tell me what it feels like to break free. Oh, tell me what it feels like to break free. Yeah, tell me what it feels like.
Stick around for a report on how the Low Spend Bike Weekend is going, as well as our exclusive Joyful Trails star rating. Also, how was I going to fare in that tent with temperatures down around freezing? Stay tuned to find out. But first, this trail. Let's discuss. Truthfully, there's not a lot to say. It's basically a utility for Tallahasseans to use to get from the city out to the real Tallahassee-St. Mark's Trail. It's typical of many such urban trails, essentially an asphalt sidewalk that goes past precious few interesting landmarks. As with a lot of these urban trails, there's a lot of litter and trash, and signs that it's being used as sort of a superhighway for homeless folks. It's a little concerning when even a Hyatt hotel says, "Hey, park here at your own risk." There's a ton of public art in Tallahassee, some of it nice and respectful, some of it weird, and some of it downright inappropriate. Okay, you will have to cross a lot of very wide, very busy intersections, as well as lots of lesser intersections. And keep an eye out for these signs or you can easily get off track. Now, why the signs say bike route instead of Tallahassee-St. Mark's Trail is anybody's guess. But yeah, keep an eye out for those signs or you might zig when the trail decides to zag. This trail extension does not go all the way to Doak-Campbell Stadium, but I asked someone for directions and I took myself there anyway. And as a lifelong Alabama fan, after what happened in that building on August 30th of 2025, yeah, I could sense evil spirits as soon as I pulled onto the property. I'm kidding. I just like big-time stadiums. But I was happy to see Bobby Bowden being honored here. He became the head coach of Florida State Seminoles football in 1976 and turned Tallahassee into a football town. During 34 years as head coach, he only had one losing season, his first, back in 1976. On my way back to the car, I did see these chickens being kept right on the trail, and I was so hungry for some meat by the time day 3 rolled around that I was tempted to steal one. I'm just trying to imagine me wringing a chicken's neck on the Tallahassee-St. Mark Trail. Well, the Low Spend Weekend was trucking right along. I just had some snack bars for breakfast on day 3 with all the rain and everything, and I skipped lunch, so I had worked up an appetite by the time I got back to Newport. That one-burner propane-fueled camp stove that my ex-wife loaned me came in quite handy on this trip. But yeah, darkness fell as I channeled my inner Gordon Ramsay and whipped up a little something. So, long story short, I ended up sleeping in my car on night 3. I could have stayed in the tent, but it was 34 degrees outside in Florida. So I just slept in the Camry, woke up every 2 hours, let the car run for a little bit to warm me up. Well, it was time to head home, and here's a little travel tip for you. If you have the opportunity, take secondary roads. If you're like me, you enjoy the back roads and byways of America better than the interstate highways. For a good bit of this trip, I eschewed the interstate in favor of something called Georgia's Scenic Hometown Highway. And when I went through a little town called Colquitt, Georgia, I saw this guy out in front of the Chamber of Commerce and couldn't resist getting a video shot. And check out the artwork on this silo. This is the stuff you'll never see from the interstate. On my trip home, I bought some Skittles to help me stay awake and alert, stopped to refuel in South Georgia, and had dinner on the road, stopping at a Crystal drive-thru in Commerce, Georgia. So how did that low-spend bike trip end up? I think I did pretty good. Outside of Crystal drive-thrus on the way down and on the way back, I stayed completely out of restaurants, bakeries, and ice cream stands. I ate only what I brought with me on the trip, preparing a lot of it myself, whereas a good meal at a decent restaurant with a tip can be $35, $40 these days per meal. My total spent on lodging was $45 over 4 days. 3 nights in a decent hotel would have sent me back, what, close to $400? What is this? Oh, cool. It's a message from our old friend Bane from Adventure Time with Bane. Let's see what he has to say.
All right, Scott, I see you out here pretending to try to do it on the cheap, trying to steal my thunder, while being bougie out here paying for campsites, $14 for some crystals. You know how many peanut butter sandwiches you can get for $14? I've had whole trips that didn't cost $14 for my food. And $2 from a vending machine for some candy. You was just at the Walmart. We know what great value. We know where that comes from. You was at Walmart. Get you some Skittles from Walmart. What else? Oh, and crying about the rain in your tent. If you was asleep in your car somewhere, wouldn't have been no rain in your tent. $15 for a campsite? You risk your freedom and you don't pay. Then we'll talk.
I guess I've got a ways to go before I can excel in professional frugalism. How about that? How about that, Bane? I just made up a term for you. Professional frugalism. You can trademark that and start using it, and I won't even charge you. I won't even come after you and sue you. Okay, so maybe I have a ways to go. But look, money was saved on this trip. Would I do it again? Oh, heck no. Cooking is overrated. So after riding the complete Tallahassee-St. Mark's Historic Railroad State Trail, what's the star rating on a scale of 1 to 5? I'm going with 3 stars. It's straight and has no bridges, trestles, boardwalks, or tunnels. There's not a lot to see here, but she does have a good bit of length to her, and at the end of the day, it's a historic railroad trail. It's right there in the name. 3 stars for the Tallahassee-St. Mark's Historic Railroad State Trail in northern Florida. Now, for the love of God, can I please just get my hands on a hamburger or a slice of pizza?